Hello friends. Okay, in order to tune your ukulele, you're going to need a few very important things. First, your ukulele. Kind of a big deal. If you're going to tune your ukulele, you should have your ukulele. Good idea. Okay. Another thing being a tuner. This is what is called a chromatic tuner. It can be used as a metronome and a tuner and a tone reference. But I use it primarily for a tuner, because that's what it's good at. You can get a chromatic tuner, or guitar tuner, ukulele tuner. They're all the same idea. Just look for tuner, maybe specifically guitar tuner, but if you get a guitar tuner, it'll work just as well for ukulele because it's a stringed instrument, fretted, all that good stuff. Alright, now the way to do this, I'm going to take my tuner. You can't see it very well. It'll be hard to show from here. So let's do it this way. Alright folks, so if you're paying attention and you actually took notes in class, then you already know what these strings are. But just in case you didn't, this first string up here is G, or at least it should be. This next string down here is C, the C below G. For you piano enthusiasts out there, that is middle C, the one in the middle of the keyboard. And for you staff enthusiasts out there, it's the one in the middle of the grand staff. So if you're one that listens to the piano and uses that to tune by matching the pitches, that's where your reference point is. That is middle C. That's the G in the G clef, that G. Then E, the bottom line of the staff. And then A, the second space in the treble clef staff. We'll do that again. So we have G, C, E, and A. Altogether, if you've tuned those correctly, you'll get something called a C6 chord. That has C, E, and G, the first, the third, and the fifth, so a triad, and the sixth, A, in the C scale. It's a C major chord, but it has the sixth on top of it. If you get that basic sound, your tuning is mostly correct, if not completely correct. Go now, I'll edit it out. The chromatic tuner in the viewfinder has a tick. If the tick moves, say, to the left, your left, the note is too flat. If it moves to the right, the note is too sharp. Too flat, too low. Too sharp, too high. These will also be indicated, at least on some of these tuners, with a red light. So you have lights on both sides of the tick, one on the left, one on the right. If it's lighting up on either of those sides, then it means that it's sharp or flat, based on what note it's looking for. So I'm going to tune these. A ukulele has 4 strings, so it has 4 tuning pegs, these guys. Now it's very important to know which tuning peg is to which string. You can look at the strings and go all the way up and figure out which tuning peg belongs to each string. Or you can just memorize. This one here is this one. Then the next string down, that one. The next string down goes around this way, that one. The last string, this one. Does this motion. This motion. It's very important that you know which peg belongs to each string, because if you get one string perfectly tuned, and you've worked really hard to tune it, and then you go to the next string and you don't move your hand to the next peg, you'll be tuning the wrong string, and before you know it, you'll have severely messed up the previous string. You'll have to go back and retune that string. It happens all the time. Make sure you move your hands to the pegs. Okay, so this first one. Right now, I've already tuned my ukulele. I use it a lot, so I tuned it a lot. My G is perfectly in tune, but I'm gonna mess that up. Let's listen. turning this way, for me, going to the left, it went sharper. I highly recommend that you experiment with turning the peg just a little bit in each direction and listening intently to the pitch. The sound went lower if I turned it to the right. Now that works for me. Some ukuleles are wound differently, so it may be the opposite. And if you ever get confused and you're just not sure which direction, instead of sitting there and letting your brain explode about it, experiment. If the sound goes down, then you're making it flatter. If the sound goes up, you're making it sharper. Easy. If you ever mess up, don't stress about which direction. Just listen. Okay. Right now, you can't see it, but my tuner's on my leg. Good place to put it. My G is too flat, so I need to raise it. We already found out if I turn it to the left, I will raise the pitch. I'll make it sharper. Now, good practice is to gently pick the string so you get a steady sound, and then slowly turn the peg while watching the tuner. Oop. There we go. Now on this chromatic tuner, remember I said there were two lights? If both lights flash green at the same time, you're in tune. But you should be very aware of what note the viewfinder is saying you're in tune with. Right now we know this string should be G. And luckily for me, yeah, it's G. The chromatic tuner is looking for G. It tells me if you're looking for G, you're perfectly in tune. Great. If it says A and says you're perfectly in tune, don't move on. This note should be G, not A. So case in point, if this were A, perfectly in tune A, we know that A is above G. So you're really sharp. Go down. Let's jump to the next one. So far we have G. Cool. I'm going to mess up the next one before I even listen to it. Let's say I decided to turn my pegs for no other reason because I'm an 8th grader and I just want to mess with things. This should be C. Okay, oh my goodness. My tuner is reading A sharp. It's actually pretty close to A sharp. A sharp. Even if you don't know about sharps or flats yet, A is below C. Way below C, in fact. So, I'm super flat. I need to get higher. Well, see, now I'm in the C range. I'm not quite there. I'm still a little flat. So as I get closer, I make my movements a little smaller. And now I'm in tune. So now I have G and C. Sweet. So the next one, if you were taking notes, is going to be E. Once again, I'm going to mess up my tuning a little bit. And notice how I went this peg, and now to this peg. Oh man. Okay, it's reading as D sharp, and it's very close to being in tune as D sharp. Now we know from our alphabet, D comes before E, and it's therefore lower than E, so I need to go up. Alright, now I have an in tune E. So now I have G, C, E, and our last one is supposed to be A. I'm going to mess it up again, just to show how to do it. Okay. It thinks that it's a very sharp G sharp. I need to go a little higher. And you want, if you're using a chromatic tuner with the lights on it, you want that green to sustain as long as possible. If it stays the whole time, great. If it stays 75% of the time and then goes a little flat, that's all right too, because the nylon strings tend to pull that direction. But if it goes green and then goes right back down to flat, you may have to adjust just a little bit more. So now we've got our we have our G, our C, E, and A. All together, we already learned this is the C6 chord. Great. What if we just want a C chord, C major, C, E, and G without the A? Well, we have some knowledge of fretboards. As you place a finger on each fret, you are raising the pitch of that string, the note on that string, up 1/2 step. So watch. Currently, this string here is A. We don't want A. We can't go backwards, we can't go lower, because we can't make the string longer. But we can go up, because we can make the string shorter. So, watch. Currently it's A. If I press down the first fret, it's A sharp, or B flat for you enharmonic folks. The next fret would make it B. And because we already know B and C, the distance between B and C is only a 1/2 step, this third fret makes it C. So now, if we press down this fret, the notes that are being played are only G, C, E, and another C, 1 octave above this C. And that makes it so all 3 notes of the triad are represented without that pesky little 6th coming in. So now we have a C major chord. Kind of cool. So C6 and C major. C6 is still considered a major chord, but it has that extra 6th, which makes it a little bit crunchy. I hope this answers all your questions. If you have further questions, leave them in a reply, and if you're watching this on YouTube, leave them in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer them. Have a great time tuning, and I hope you enjoy your chords. Bye, friends.